Nashville air traffic control was shut down for 5 hours tonight. The air traffic control near Burbank also shut down. This is going to happen all around the world, all around the country, and it will be incredibly disruptive for air travel. Hopefully nothing horrible happens.
Breaking at 8, we start with the latest in the government shutdown. No signs yet of a compromise between Democrats and Republicans to end the stalemate. We are starting to see consequences. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is here with that story. Good morning, Mary.
Hey, George, good morning. Well, 1 week into this shutdown, millions of federal workers hanging in the balance, and we are no closer to a deal to reopen the government. In fact, the parties aren't even negotiating. The president yesterday, though, said he's willing to work with Democrats on health care, the issue at the heart of all of this, suggesting talks were underway, but Democratic leaders were quick to point out that's not true, that negotiations aren't actually happening. Trump then walking that back, saying he's willing to work with Democrats only after they reopen the government. Democrats are standing firm, refusing to fund the government unless Republicans agree to repeal Medicaid cuts and extend those health care subsidies to prevent insurance premiums from rising for millions of Americans. But Republicans aren't budging. They're accusing Democrats of holding the government hostage. Now, a fifth vote failed last night. The House isn't even in session, even though lawmakers are still collecting their paychecks when federal employees aren't. The Senate is expected to vote again today, but there's no indication that the outcome will be any different. Instead, this shutdown now stretching into a second week, guys.
Yeah, it looks like no end in sight. Thank you so much for that.
Mr. President, have you identified programs to eliminate under this shutdown?
Oh, sure.
Which ones?
We have a lot. I'm not going to tell you, but we'll be announcing it pretty soon. But we have a lot of things that we're going to eliminate and permanently eliminate. You know, one of the things that we have is some advantage, you could say. But because of the shutdown, which I think they made a big mistake, we're able to take out billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And they've handed it, on a silver platter. And Russell Vogt, he's a serious person, very serious person. And he's sitting there and he's getting ready to cut things. And this is something that was handed to us by, I assume, Schumer. I just don't know if Schumer has any power anymore. I look at your leadership, I don't know who to speak to. I'll tell you what, I'm getting calls from Democrats wanting to meet. I never even heard their names before, and they're claiming to be leaders.
Never even heard these Democrats. They're coming out of nowhere. Nobody's even heard these Democrat names before. These are new types of Democrats. It's good that there is so much pushback, and that the conversation has been centered around the Republicans. The conversation has been centered around the Republican Party cutting Medicare and Medicaid. It's unironically one of the few instances where they are doing the right thing. And the very fact that Donald Trump is seeking to address healthcare by name, the very fact that the very fact that Donald Trump is now talking about healthcare is good, is very good. It means that it's working.
The Democrats have no leader. They remind me of Somalia, okay? And I met the president of Somalia. I told him about the problem he's got. I said, you have somebody from Somalia who's telling us how to run our country. She's from Somalia. He said, would you like to take her back? He said, no, I don't want her.
Remember, 16 years ago, we were talking about Van Jones calling Republicans assholes. Okay? 16 years ago, people were talking about Republicans getting called assholes. Now the president is just straight up being like, I asked the leader of Somalia to take Ilhan Omar back. And he said, hell no. Fucking insane.
Okay, you know who I'm talking about? Say it again.
How many permanent jobs are you talking about to eliminate?
Well, I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial. And a lot of those jobs will never come back. But you're going to have a lot closer to a balanced budget, actually.
Is it the White House's position that furloughed workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way. Okay? Thank you.
Workers may not get back pay. What is your reaction to that guidance? And is it your expectation that some type of language to ensure back pay will be included in any final CR or bill once this shutdown is resolved?
Donald Trump and his administration have been torturing federal employees since the very beginning of his presidency, engaging in mass firings, harassing them, brutalizing them, laying people off without justification, and violating the law. So let me be clear to those hardworking federal employees who are now being victimized by this Trump Republican shutdown. We continue to stand with you, and we'll stand with you as we've done from the very beginning of this presidency. And the law is clear. Every single furloughed federal employee is entitled to back pay. Period. Full stop. The law is clear, and we will make sure that that law is followed.
Let's turn to Capitol Hill, where this morning there are few signs the shutdown will end anytime soon. NBC's Ryan Nobles joins us now. Ryan, good morning. Are lawmakers making any progress?
Chanel, there are mixed signals, none of them all that good. The shutdown entered its seventh.
I will say it's a testament to the deep unpopularity of the Trump administration that even though the number one leader of the Democratic Party that is like counter messaging during this shutdown is Hakeem Jeffries, people are still upset at the Trump administration. That's good. In spite of his overall lack of charisma, his Rizlessness, people are still mad at the Trump admin, and part of that is directly attributed to Donald Trump and the ways in which he has communicated throughout the shutdown. He has failed on every issue. Donald Trump coming out and being like, oh, you should fear the Reaper, right? Talking about how he's going to fire people. Like all of this has played a role and made people more frustrated with the administration because they're not taking it seriously at all.
Day to day after lawmakers failed to pass legislation to keep the government funded. The issue continues to be the same. Democrats are demanding to extend health care subsidies right now, while Republicans want to end the shutdown first and then negotiate. But for the first time, President Trump signaled yesterday that he is willing to negotiate on health care. Take a listen.
We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things. What kind of and I'm talking about good things with regard to health care.
The president, though, later followed up on social media demanding that Democrats vote to reopen the government first before any of these negotiations. Democratic leaders Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries denied that there have been any talks, but they certainly welcomed the prospect. It comes amid a new crack in the GOP, with MAGA firebrand Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for action on rising health insurance premiums and criticizing her own leadership for not having a plan to address that. Chanel.
And Ryan, we're already seeing the effects on air travel, but where else might we start seeing the impact from the shutdown?
Yeah, it's really going to start to be felt this week, because if a deal isn't reached, some federal workers will miss at least part of their first paycheck on Friday. Then food assistance for 6 million low-income families is also set to dry up soon. All that while the White House is threatening layoffs if the shutdown continues. So each day that goes by without a deal, the stakes and the pressure only get higher. And adding to all of that, some 750,000 workers who are on furlough right now usually end up receiving back pay. That's according to the law. But there's a new draft memo that's been issued by the White House, confirmed by NBC News, first obtained by Axios, that the administration believes that they're not guaranteed that money. The Trump administration is still negotiating.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene going to become a mouse or something? No, dude. No. She's just she is just a good room reader. That's all this is. She understands that while she is a psychopath in general, she is carving out like a populist right-wing position for herself. This is not like a genuine change of heart, okay? This is not a genuine change of heart at all. It's not.
And this may be just being used as a negotiation tactic. Worth noting that even if there is any loophole in the law that would prevent this money from going to federal workers after the shutdown, Congress could easily close that loophole in whatever bill they pass.
It's just a scary time for so many families. All right, Ryan, thank you.
We're going to begin, though, with a growing impact.
Also, ATC has been suffering from the government shutdown. Nashville air traffic control was shut down for 5 hours tonight. The air traffic control near Burbank also shut down. This is going to happen all around the world, all around the country, and it will be incredibly disruptive for air travel. Hopefully, nothing horrible happens.
The government shutdown now on air travelers across this country. Nearly 6,000 flights were delayed yesterday, some due to staffing issues with workers who are not getting paid. Last night, one airport near Los Angeles went several hours without air traffic controllers in the tower. Chris Van Cleve is at the Phoenix airport with the latest on these disruptions. That's not good, Chris. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning. We are seeing air traffic control staffing issues now several days in a row, often in places that don't typically have staffing issues, like here in Phoenix that saw about 250 delays coming in and out of this airport yesterday. And in California, one major airport tower went to ATC 0. The lights are on at the Hollywood Burbank Airport Control Tower, but Monday evening, there was no one home.
Hey, Burbank Tower, Southwest 695. Southwest 695, still come. Hey, are you guys, is clearance open still, or is it closed for Burbank?
Air traffic control staffing went to ATC 0, meaning there was no one in the control tower. Pilots were redirected to controllers at other FAA facilities.
Clearance is closed, ground's closed, local's closed, the tower is closed due to staffing. So you just contact SoCal on the 800 number in the green book for your clearance.
And flyers felt the impact.
They rerouted us to LAX, and they gave us a voucher.
Staffing issues, including sick calls, hit several major airports and ATC centers on day 6 of the government shutdown, with staffing at some facilities down by 50%.
If we have additional sick calls.
My brother-in-law is an ATC operator. It's quite literally the most stressful job ever. Yeah, and it's also criminally understaffed. And it's been an issue even before the shutdown. So this is something that we literally talked about. This is something that we talked about early on when there was a whole bunch of planes falling out of the fucking sky. They're incredibly overworked and incredibly understaffed even before the government shutdown. Shouts out to Ronald Reagan for that, the devil himself. Yeah, this is from January 31st, 2025. Over 90% of U.S. airport towers are understaffed, data shows. Less than 10% of the nation's airport terminal towers have enough air traffic controllers to meet a set of standards by a working group that included the Federal Aviation Administration and the Controls Union, according to CBS News and analysis of FAA data. The issue has received renewed scrutiny following the January 29th mid-air collision between an American Airlines flight and a Black Hawk Army helicopter near the Reagan National Airport outside of Washington, D.C. that killed 67 people. Only one air traffic controller worker was managing the helicopters and some planes from the Reagan National Airport Tower at the time of the collision, a job normally done by 2 people, 2 sources told CBS. This is all on Trump. Blame all to Orange Man? No, I mean, it's Ronald Reagan, if we're being real. Ronald Reagan played a big role in this. Only about 2% of the towers meet the Collaborative Resource Working Group's 2024 staffing targets for the number of fully trained air traffic controllers. But of course, they fucking said DEI is the reason that the ATC is bad. Just like when they try to fucking claim, that they're not trying to cut healthcare funds, they're actually simply cutting healthcare to undocumented migrants. It's not that the ATC is understaffed significantly. It's that it's the DEI. Devastating union buster. This is why I say Ronald Reagan can be attributed to every single problem that you can point to. Every single problem that you can point to in American history You can abso-fucking-lutely point back to Ronald Reagan.
We will reduce the flow consistent with a rate that's safe.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy visited controllers at Newark Airport Monday, warning the shutdown would add more stress to their lives.
Now what they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, do I have to take a second job and drive Uber when I'm already exhausted from doing a job that's already stressful, to think about how I can make extra money because the government may not provide me a paycheck?
Back in Burbank, some travelers who face delays empathized with the controllers.
That's the way they have to protest, right? They have no other way to show that it's hurting not just them, but us.
The Air Traffic Controllers Union tried to downplay the staffing issue, saying in a statement it is normal for a few air traffic controllers to call in sick on any given day, and this is the latest example of how fragile our aviation system is in the midst of a national shortage. What we're seeing is not normal based on the number of staffing triggers or shortages we're seeing pop up. Something to note, during the last long shutdown, we did see air traffic control staffing issues, but that was about a month into the shutdown. In this case, the controllers are yet to miss a paycheck.
Yeah, you described it as fragile, and you're absolutely right, Chris. Thank you.
Overnight, at least one U.S. airport had no air traffic controllers on duty as staff began calling out sick amid the government shutdown. Burbank Airport's tower was unmanned Monday evening, with a team in San Diego taking over operations.
Clearance is closed, ground's closed, local's closed. The tower is closed due to staffing.
California Governor Gavin Newsom slamming President Trump on X, writing, "Thanks at Real Donald Trump, Burbank Airport has 0 air traffic controllers from 4:15 to 10 p.m. today because of your government shutdown." Air traffic controllers are required to work through the shutdown, but will only be paid retroactively once it ends.
What they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How do I make my car payment?
The staffing shortages triggering delays at major airports across the country, including Newark, Denver, and Phoenix. Smaller airports could also be affected. The Transportation Department says funds for the program that allows air carriers to service rural areas will expire next week. Prior to the shutdown, the FAA had already been facing staffing shortages. The Air Traffic Controllers Union saying it will continue partnering with the Department of Transportation to supercharge controller hiring and ensure America's aviation system remains the safest and most efficient in the world. President Trump is now calling on Democrats to reopen the government, writing on Truth Social, "I am happy to work with the Democrats on their failed health care policies or anything else, but first they must allow our government to reopen." Earlier, he implied negotiations are already underway.
We have a negotiation going on right now with the Democrats that could lead to very good things.
But Democratic Senate Leader Chuck Schumer denying any talks are happening, saying it's up to the president to end the shutdown.
He's in charge. His party holds majorities across the government. So Americans naturally and correctly believe the burden is on him to fix this mess.
Yesterday, the Senate failed for a 5th time to pass spending measures that would reopen the government. President Trump warned another failed vote would trigger mass layoffs of federal workers.
More attacks on Jasmine Crockett, claiming that she's a low IQ individual. Classic. It's just so, oh my God, it's so fucked. Oh, fucking Christ. Everything is so ass. I'm so fucking tired. Jesus Christ.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's they're all Democrat delays. There are delays at the airport. That's standard. And again, this is something that every day we put forth a bill. It's just a continuation. It's a very simple thing to sign and very simple to do. And I really think that these are people that I think they have nothing to lose. They have a party that's out of control. They have no leader.
How was the airport backed up for you? It wasn't. But it was probably like the weird time that it was probably the weird time that I entered the airport in the morning. It's Monday morning. I don't know. But the delays are happening on the departure side, perhaps on the arrival side as well. But remember, it's the TSA that are the federal government employees that are actually getting furloughed, or they're either getting furloughed, or they're getting they're calling out for they're calling out sick, and they will eventually get they will eventually get cuts if they don't get paid. But that's on the departure side. On the entry side, it's Customs and Border Patrol, which has also experienced some setbacks, but that's not due to the government shutdown. Now, obviously, Customs and Border Patrol is still considered emergency. They're emergency workers, so they don't actually receive any sort of like furlough. But the reason why there are delays, they're essential employees. But the reason why there are delays on the arrival side is because they've taken Customs and Border Patrol employees that otherwise would be working at the gates at the point of arrival and instead have sicked them on unsuspecting migrants all around the country. And therefore, they're not working the fucking gates any longer at LAX. And instead, they're too busy working the streets of Los Angeles. Okay?
The leader is. I look at people with very low IQs like Crockett, this woman Crockett. I never met her, but she's a low IQ individual. I look at AOC talking about how if they want to negotiate, they can come to my office. She's not in that position to do that. And who the hell is she?
But it will cook air travel because TSA will get hit with furloughs. Why is he obsessed with IQ? It's just always when he's talking about black people. That's what it is. When he's talking about black people, he will always bring up low IQ. It's just old school.
Just say that. And then I watch Nancy Pelosi not knowing what to do. I watch their leadership. Look, Schumer is petrified of primary because he's not going to win probably against anybody in a primary. You know, Schumer did the right thing, but he handled it badly originally a year ago. He did probably the right thing, but he handled it badly. I think Schumer's incapable of making a deal. They are a mess. They're a party that has no leadership. They have, and they have no policy. You know, I think we have great leadership, but we also have great policy. We have strong borders. We have no men and women's sports. Basic things. We're not going to take your child away and change the sex of your child. We're not going to do things like that. What they're doing to the country is so incredible. And they got away with it with all their woke crap, and now it's stopped. And we have a country that's based on common sense and strength and intelligence. I mean, we have the United States of America, and I say it all the time. Other leaders have told me this. Mark hasn't yet, but I think he would. A year ago, we were a dead country, and now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. Maybe Canada. I'll give Canada, but because I do like Canada. But you know, we're the hottest country in the world right now. There's never been a country that has the kind of money coming into it. There's never been anything like this. There has never been a country that if you take $1 trillion, that would be unbelievable. We're going to have over $20 trillion invested in this country. There's never been anything like what you're seeing, and it's based on good policy and common sense and leadership.